Republican Senator Rick Scott is being called out about his own tax plan on Fox News, of all places.
Recently put out an 11-point plan to rescue America, two of the big points of which are, quote, all Americans should pay some income tax to have skin in the game, even if a small amount. Currently, over half of Americans pay no income tax. It also says all federal legislation sunsets in 5 years. If a law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again. So that would raise taxes on half of Americans and potentially sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Why would you propose something like that in an election year?
Sure. Well, John, that's, of course, the Democrat talking points. It's a
No, it's in the plan. It's in the plan.
But here's this thing about reality for a second. First of all, let's talk about Medicare.
But Senator, hang on.
John.
So it's not a Democratic talking point. It's in the plan.
It's in the plan. It's there. Look, this is great because, I mean, Rick Scott is a shady motherfucker. All right? Rick Scott is like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, you know, this plan is Democrat talking points and anything like that. No, you literally have it written out that they have to have skin, quote unquote, skin in the game. That means paying taxes. Everybody paying federal income taxes. By the way, most people, like, at least in states that have an income tax, they pay a state income tax as well. And then, of course, there's sales taxes. And so poor people actually do pay taxes as well. And so sometimes this is not federal. Why? Because they don't make enough money to pay federal income tax. But look, you can read the plan for yourself. Guess what? John Roberts actually did and was like, actually, no, you do have tax increases on working class people, the poor and the middle class. It's in there. It's not a Democrat talking point. So let me give you the details on that before I get to more making fun of Rick Scott. The Tax Policy Center estimated that more than 80% of the tax increase in Rick Scott's plan would be paid by households making about $54,000 or less. I think half of all Americans only make like $30,000 a year. And 97% of that would be paid by those making about less than $100,000. So look, the rich millionaires, billionaires, they're essentially untouched by Rick Scott's plan. Well, you know why? Because those are the donors. Of course, his plan doesn't touch the donors. My question is, how dumb does Rick Scott think people are? The people that are watching, his voters. Well, I mean, look, maybe, and this is, I guess, very likely, he's thinking, none of my supporters are going to read the bill. All I have to do is to say that it's a Democrat talking point. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Skin in the game. Yeah, everybody's got to have skin in the game. Yeah. Let's not go after the rich people and have them have skin in the game. Let's go after the poor people. But it's not a tax increase. Oh. Look, here's the thing, though. Rick Scott isn't alone in trying to tax the poor. Look, the Republican Party has been trying this on and off for decades, a long time. So now, that said, on this particular bill, here's Mitch McConnell. He put out a statement pushing back, because it's a midterm, it's election year. Quote, we will not have as part of our agenda a bill that raises taxes on half the American people and sunsets Social Security and Medicare within 5 years. That's okay, but Mitch McConnell, who is a Republican establishment, they do support getting rid of Medicare and Social Security and shifting the burden of taxes away from the very top and pushing it down onto the bottom, onto the working class. Now, look, I think I've talked about over the years, there are ways of chipping away at Medicare and Social Security, trying to push like a change CPI to reduce Social Security payments, Medicare payments, privatizing those two programs, giving retirements out to Wall Street. And look, they did this by spreading the lie that, Medicare, Social Security, they're unsustainable. And we've got to, quote unquote, fix them by defunding them. And look, we can do that, but you got to remember, that, young people, you're not going to get Social Security. So we might as well just kind of end it now or taper it down or privatize it, whatever, right? But here's the thing about that. If you just lift the tax cap on income, you can fund Social Security for the end of time. Right now, if somebody pays, and the cap was recently raised to $147,000 in this year, if you pay that in Social Security taxes, well, and by the way, the top 1% gets that like in one day. Then guess what? They don't have to pay any more into the tax. That's it. That's the cap. If you remove that cap or raise it to say like $1 million and make the people at the top pay their fair share in Social Security taxes, then you could sustain the program with no loss in benefits for retirees forever, for the end of time. Now, of course, that does mean raising taxes on the beloved billionaires who, despite claiming to be taxed too much, keep getting obscenely richer. And by the way, as Vanessa Callahan in the chat points out, well, Social Security isn't sustainable, but the ever-increasing military budget, well, that, my friends, is absolutely sustainable. I think that's an excellent point. Best audience in the world on the internet, or best audience on
internets.
And so, thank you for that contribution. You're absolutely right. Yes, in fact, the new military budget is $31 billion more than it was every year. Billions and billions of dollars going to the military-industrial complex, but God forbid, we can't actually do anything to help regular people. We can't have health care. We can't have people retire in dignity. And we're kind of constantly trying to figure out ways to nickel and dime people while slowly taking away Medicare and Social Security. That's what the Republican Party wants to do. And now, again, they come out and say, oh, no, we're going to protect Social Security and Medicare. We're just going to fix it. But don't worry, it'll be around. And the reason they say that is because it's an incredibly popular program. I mean, Republicans love Medicare and Social Security. Very, very incredibly popular. So if you try to talk about eliminating it, you're going to get pilloried. You're going to get destroyed in the polls. In fact, the last person to have suffered any political consequences for not so much talking about Medicare and Social Security, but about taxing poor people, which is another third rail that people are not in favor of. In fact, overwhelmingly, polls show that the American people want us to raise taxes on the rich, or at least make the rich pay their fair share in taxes. But you remember 2012, Mitt Romney talking about the 47%. Remember that? Oh, 47% of Americans don't pay any income tax because they don't make enough money, right? But to them, they're victims, losers, moochers, leeches, essentially, right? He didn't say that, but he said, believe that they're victims. 47% of Americans. Now, Mitt Romney is about as establishment Republican as you can get. And guess what? That was enough to sink his 2012 campaign. Now you got Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump. He ran on saying, I'm going to protect Medicare. I'm going to protect Social Security. You're not going to touch Medicare and Social Security. I'll expand Medicare. Yeah, he did talk about expanding Medicare. He didn't, of course, because he was lying. But that's fake populism. Because in the Republican Party, just like around, with all the American people, Social Security and Medicare are incredibly popular programs because they work. They work. And so now, if you go against these programs very publicly, that is enough to basically blowtorch your own career. And now, going to Rick Scott. Rick Scott isn't very smart. Either that or he's convinced that his audience isn't very smart, or he thinks, my real audience, it's my corporate donors. My donors that I meet with behind closed doors and secret dinners. This was supposed to be for them. No, nobody was ever supposed to talk about the tax increases. Oh no. So I think maybe Rick Scott is either stupid or he thinks you're stupid and that you're going to be distracted with all the red meat that was packed into this bill on purpose. I mean, his plan calls for finishing Trump's border wall, which is ridiculous, and declaring that men are men, women are women, and unborn babies are babies, and that the Democrats were going to try to stop them from rigging elections. Either way, look, the Republican Party, the mainstream Republicans, they're not having it. Again, this happened on Fox News. And the reason, of course, they push back is because they know that this message, when it gets out, is going to kill them in the midterms. Democrats, you have an opportunity. Amplify this. You should talk. There should be nonstop Democrat ads against Rick Scott saying, and I've seen some of this, by the way, so they're starting to capitalize on it. The Republican plan is to tax poor people and to take away Medicare and Social Security. The Republicans, they've said it. Rick Scott says, oh no, we're going to have that. Except now there's Democrat talking points, even though it's literally in the plan. Well, keep running on that. Because right now, if you don't find something to run on, Republicans have a good chance of taking back the House and Senate and actually doing something, albeit behind the scenes, to continue to chip away at Medicare and Social Security.